Hey everyone, this is Navy Mike. That's Navy Mike because I did 20 years in the Navy. So I'm sitting here doing a little project on my wife's car and figure every other backyard mechanic is making videos on repairs to cars, so I figure I would too. This is a 2011 Acadia Denali GMC. Which had a little antifreeze leak, which wound up being the radiator was bad on it. So I'm replacing the radiator on there, and then also if you look down there, the brake rotors don't look that well, so I'm going to go ahead and replace the brake rotors, pads and everything else, and we'll talk about that on the next video. This video I want to show you all the intricacies to this radiator replacement. A lot of these new vehicles, you have to remove the front bumper, which really isn't that bad to remove, and you see it sitting there. There are a bunch of screws. Some of those are in this cup right here, if you can see that. Yeah, that's a little better right there. I'm trying to stop something here. Okay, some of the screws and clips are down in there. Then I have some that go on the other side in this green cup right here. And then I have another cup somewhere with some other screws, I think, for the other side in there. But this is basically what it looks like when the radiators move for a time. And I got to do some cleaning here. Engine's a little dirty. For time purposes, I wanted to start at this point where the radiator is removed. As you can see right here, you've got your air conditioner cooler, a radiator for your air conditioning. Then you got your fan assembly, and basically your new radiator is going to sit right down inside of here. You can see the hole down in there where one edge sits at, and then the hole on the other side where the other one sits at. Now I've read some, well, first of all, here you see some hoses here. This goes to your overflow tank there. This is your discharge to your engine, and then you can see your hose down there. Hopefully you can see that right here, right there. That's your bottom radiator hoses. So really it's not that difficult to do. It's just time consuming to get all the screws off the wheel wells. As you can see over here, there's a lot of screws and clips that just basically snap together. Some screws here, some screws down on this edge, and then some screws along this edge right here in the wheel well. A couple of them in here I removed up here just to loosen this up so you can pry in between your wheel well and your front bumper and see what's going on inside of here for you to remove the bumper. So you just got to look around, tug, pull a little bit here and a little bit there until you find the screws that are holding that front bumper on. And then you got a plastic shroud that goes here across the top of there, or I don't know if you saw it. Shroud goes across the top of here to cover it. Really it's just for dust, and that cover is right here. So you can see that sits across the top of that and just really keeps some of the dust from going inside your engine and your major engine parts. This is what used to be a lot of metal. Now they're going to like a hard plastic, and that piece just sits right on the edge here, and it comes down and it just screws into here and here, and really just protects this front end, reinforces the engine just in case, and the car and people inside of it, just in case there is an accident or something like that. It kind of buckles and absorbs some of the damage to your frame up here and everything else, if that is possible, depending on how fast you're going. So so some of the things that I looked up, about these vehicles and some of the older model ones. I really couldn't find a 2011 video, but really talked about this special clip, which is to your transmission. I saw one guy saying that you needed a special tool to get this piece off right here, and basically it looks like, and I haven't got that far, that the transmission line just plugs into here, and these little snap rings, I don't know if you can see those snap rings on there, they plug into here, and then the snap rings will hold it in place, sort of like this. You pop it in and then it'll hold it into place, and then you have your new one. That is not what I did. What I did was, and I don't have the old radiator here, but as you can see, here are my transmission lines, and let's see, yeah, you can see that. You see that piece is still on there with the O-ring still intact. So either two things I'm gonna do. I found it easier to use a 19mm wrench. This top one, I came right down in this side with a 19mm wrench, and I have it here somewhere. Let's see, it's probably sitting, oh yeah. I came right down on this side here and was able to grab the nut portion and screw it out. The bottom one, same thing. I came in from this edge, this bottom edge, up into here where the transmission sits, and I was able to get a little turn, little turn, little turn, little turn, until I unscrewed that. So I'm either going to take, well, I definitely have to take these out right here. I might try to remove the O-ring from the back side of there, put it onto my existing line, and then screw it back in. That's for both of them. I'm sure there's 1,001 special tools and different ways, and some mechanics that say no, that's not right, and you're gonna have problems. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. A perfect world. If we was in a perfect world, then we wouldn't have these breakdowns. So in a sense, in short, it sits down in there. It is a little tough to get it out of there. You got to wiggle this one out of the way, push this one out of the way to get it in there. Now the unique thing about this is that it has special hooks right here that fan sits down inside of, and that's what locks the fan into the base. And then you have two screws. You can see a little pin right here that connects it, and then two screws on each end that you screw in, and that's what holds the fan together with the radiator. The radiator will be locked in place. The air conditioning cooler will be locked in place, and everything will be nice and tight in here. So in a sense, these are little grommets that go into those holes down there, and that's where the bottom of the radiator will sit in, and you can see that right there. So those go right on to the end there, and they sit in there and they ride nice and soft. Just take a little bit. This is an absorber, so it takes a little bit of shock as the car is going over the road to keep from damaging your radiator, and kind of giving it a little floating effect. So I will return again and show you what the assembly looks like before I put the bumper on, and then we'll go from there. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.